Hi, everyone. Welcome to another week of tips and tricks for your dance class so that we can help you feel confident and empowered and trust what you're doing inside the classroom. Today, we're going to talk about how to transition inside the classroom within your class. How do you go from one part of your class to the middle of your class to the end of your class? It's a magical thing that if you can get this down, your class is just going to flow brilliantly. If you do not get the transitions adequately down and are consistent with them, your class will go bananas, right? Because the children do not know, the dancers do not know where to go, what goes next, or what's the order in we're performing this. So we talk mostly about working with younger students, which absolutely love repetition, absolutely love knowing what's happening, what's next, being in control so that they can really thrive and listen to the rest of the classroom. So when you're planning your class, you can have 3 sections of your class, or you can have 4 sections of your class, depending what you're teaching, which level you're teaching, or what you need to accomplish. But what happens is sometimes we're like, okay, we're finished with the floor, and now we need to pick up the spots. And then, if you yourself go around picking up 15 spots, then the students don't know what they're doing. There's no music, there's no. So what happens is you make these transitions into part of your classroom, right? Into part of the class, almost like another exercise or another thing that needs to happen. And so you can sing through them and you can be like, pick up those spots and pass them to me. Every time you do the class, you sing the same way. Bring them over here and put them down. And so first of all, they helped you. They picked up their spots, they put them down, and you can continue the class and say, and now go to your spots, and here we go. And then we start all over again. The same thing, Lee, when you do your, use your props in the middle of the class. Yeah. Your obstacle course, right? So the students need to know what's happening when that's getting built.
Yeah. I think, you're exactly right, because those moments in time are so critical because it can just become chaotic. I think you can lose their focus if you were having a great section of class and then you lose that transition. It can just be like disaster from there on out. So I create songs with each of my transitions, especially for the little ones. And by doing that, they then know exactly what's going to happen. I even have before my obstacle course, I create a song where they go sit by the mirror while I'm setting it out. I have not a song for, because I take attendance and I have them sitting by the mirror. And I ask a question. So that transition is, my question of the week. And then one at a time, whoever's sitting nicely will nicely pick out their color or whatever color I choose, depending on the class and how well they handle that. We'll go find their spot. And then we transition from the center to across the floor with the song. We transfer from across the floor to sit by the mirror for the obstacle course with the song. We transfer cleaning up the obstacle course with the song. And then we transfer from the cleanup to, the free time, not with the song really. But it's definitely a very concise way. It's not just like a free-for-all. And then we'll transfer back to the end of the song. So everything is planned out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel that, like you said, you can spend the entire class not knowing how you're transitioning and then trying to get back their attention to then continue or you can decide to introduce your transitions as part of the classroom as rituals where they know what's next, right? We've talked about the imagination and there's no transition really, but we were doing across the floor. And so sometimes I wouldn't even clean up the spots on the side because it was the end of class. I would just sit myself in the middle of the room and they knew it was story time, right? I would just be like, ah, come every time. And so it's like immediate. If you are consistent, they will know where to go. The younger they are, the more visual they need for where they need to go. So the spots are a fantastic thing for every single transition. But like I said, if they have their own spots and then they know they have to go to the mirror, then they put the little spot and then they put their little tushy on that spot, and they can be spread out. Sometimes they end up on top of each other because they don't know how to separate themselves. So the only thing you do is you help move the spots to give them a visual of where their body needs to be.
Right.
So transitions are critical and they are very important, and sometimes they are not taken so seriously. And honestly, it's like a little thing or a big thing, very important in your classroom, so that you can feel completely confident and then focus on what you need to be focusing, instead of managing a classroom and managing a transition. The transitions with the spots, or to going into, like you said, across the floor or into a diagonal, are so important the bigger the class they get, right? So if you have 15 students and you need 7 on one side and 7 on the other, if you were to tell exactly all of them where to go every single time and they didn't know, then it'll take you, I don't know, 5 minutes or maybe more of your classroom. If they know it, at the beginning, they just have to get used to it. But after the second or third time you do it, they're like, oh, this is what we do here, right? And then you kind of keep their attention and they stay engaged and happy, and then they can dance and do, focus on their dancing.
Right. And, transitions can honestly make or break your class. Not only for their attention span is it helpful, but also for you, if you lose that focus, then it can become chaotic in your brain, trying to wrangle everyone back together to get to that same spot you started in, and then it becomes a
Yep.
mess for you and you become emotionally drained. So not only is it helpful for the kids for you to have these set and have rituals, but it's also helpful for you.
No, absolutely. And you might be saying, well, I don't sing. So you don't really have to sing. You can sing if you want to. And sometimes, those very famous baby lullabies or rhythms that they know, you can just like put the words to them, or you can clap and say, come, and 2, and 3, and 4. We go to the mirror or whatever you say, you can clap. You don't have to sing, or you can put a song, I'm thinking about in your class. Maybe you have a transition song. So every time you play that little melody, they know we're going to the mirror. And so help find any tool that makes you feel comfortable, but that is going to be consistent and that is going to help you transition from each section of your class to have a more successful class.
Absolutely. I think that's all we have time for today. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to see more from us. We post every week. We would love for you to leave a comment for any ideas or anything that you want to hear us talk about. We would absolutely love to do it. We have a teacher training course where we'll leave all the information in the bio below for you to go check that out. We're also on Etsy to buy our training course there along with a workbook. I think that's it, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye everyone.